strangle me with a cable. Did I understand it correctly? Okay, that's additional fun I was not booked for. Yeah, good. What is the object-oriented way to get rich? Inherit, yeah. Woo. 1 bonus point. A horse goes into a bar. The bartender asks, why the long face? The horse answers, because I'm an imaginary creature which exists just for this narrative and will be gone when it's over. Not that good. 2 strings go into a bar. One of them says, hello, I would like to have a beer. His friend says, oh, sorry, he's not null-terminated. The bartender says, hello, Root, you've got mail. Our next speaker, Lynn Root, about PyCon 2014.
Can you hear me? All right. So I think I'll just be like under a minute. I'm just announcing PyCon 2014. Perhaps you're just too busy at the river bar, maybe drinking a little bit too much. But on Tuesday, we announced our CFP. And this is not PyCon Canada, just FYI. So the CFP is open now, but the registration opens on September 1st, as well as financial aid applications. And then the talks and tutorial proposals are due September 15th. The poster proposals are due November 1st. And December 1st, the financial aid awards are announced. And then the schedule is announced on December 15th. So real quickly, Lightning Talks proposals will also be accepted, but we'll also be doing same day, same conference day signups. So we're gonna try out half and half. And I am actually going to be chairing the Lightning Talks this year at PyCon.
Woo.
Yeah. And also, PyLadies will be doing like a brainstorming for workshops via Google Hangouts. So all are welcome to join, but it's going to be kind of later on. But stay tuned for more information about PyLadies workshops. And then if you want more information, the U.S. stands for us, not United States. And it's actually .org. That's a typo. It's .org. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Root. Now, there's a very, very strong rule for Lightning Talks. Which is it? That's the rule you don't talk about. The other rule is a Lightning Talk is about 5 minutes. And we know special cases are not special enough to break the rules. So there is a new rule. If you got a well-thought-out proposal to remove the GIL from Python, and you get an affirmation from one of the bots, that is Timbot, Fbot, or Matellibot, only then you're allowed to have a Lightning Talk that takes 2 slots. MC Larry Hastings did it.
Yes, and I'm having technical difficulties for the first time.
Must be the GIL.
Make a joke.
Make a joke?
How do you get rich before object-oriented programming?
I have an even better joke. I'll ask the people which web framework they will create. No, they are using. Who is using Django? Who is using Pyramid/Pylons?
I'll reboot. Take another speaker.
Who is using Turbo Gears? Turbo Gears. And I need Rob Collins. I need Rob Collins prepared while Larry recompiles the Python. Who is using Flask/Werkzeug/Micro? And I'm one of the people who can pronounce Werkzeug. Who is using ZTK/Grok? Oh, you're right. Who uses SOAP2/Plone? Okay. Who uses something else? CTI. Who is creating his own framework between talks? Everybody does. Don't be shy. Rob, while you set up, you can talk. How much money did you cash in for going away?
Yes, people have been very generous, over 1,300 euros.
1,300 euros! Wow. What's the common thing with McDonald's and the Higgs boson? They get mass. Things get mass. The common thing between McDonald's and the Higgs boson. Okay. Rob Collins will be talking about graph-based data navigation. Are you ready?
I am. Right.
Rob Collins.
Okay, so user interfaces are hard. You get things like that where functional overload is a problem, and a fuzzy screen as well. Hopefully you can see that. A typical example of how people solve that is to divide the data up into different parts. So a leading appointment scheduling program that they view persons' data by looking at profile, visits, purchases, and so on separate screens. It solves the problem of the functional overload, but when you go and look at it, you have to click somewhere, and then here you can see the mobile phone number and the email, but you can't see the address or the history on that page. You have to click somewhere else. You can drill down into payments and appointments, but essentially there is a problem. Common data structure we found is people start with a relational database. The developers run out of time and realise that they should have done the user interface earlier, but all they've got time to do is one web page per table, add some jQuery to improve the look of it, and end up with something that is rather hard to teach people where things are and slow to use. And it's not really a good solution for the functional overload problem. Hold that thought for a minute, and you may have come across the Isotope JavaScript library, nice responsive mobile first design, where you have blocks of whatever you like that can move around the screen and organize themselves rather nicely like that, all in the browser. So what we've thought is, supposing you were able to put those together and take the expected queries from your relational database, denormalize them, export the data to a graph with nodes and links, send the graph JSON to the browser running Isotope, and the use case is someone comes into the massage center saying, I'd like to know what my all the information you have on me. I need to know how many of my buy 10 get 1 free package I've used up, what was my next appointment, what was the cream that I bought last week, and you want all that information together in one place. So we have something like this, where we start with a list of, this is just a proof of concept, but let's look at the people in the system. So we've got Ali, the administrator, who's currently viewing the system. We've got Fred and Melody, who are the therapists giving the massages, and we've got Jane and me as customers. So we can see, the administrator can see that Jane has appointments. She can see who Jane is treated by. These are Fred's clients. The blue shows Fred's appointments. Fred treats me. I can go and look at that, and each person would have a different view of the data that they were entitled to see. So the idea is we can go around, we're navigating the graph part by part, so that it means there's a flexible way of looking at the data where you can go in and look at something all in one place. So what we've realized that we're doing, we're making arbitrary decisions about how to design this based on isotope, what should the item structure be, how to do widgets, where to put them, what the sort of link formatting is. That's the hardest bit, because when you export the data, you need to know where it's come from, and each of the link titles is different, how to do security, and it needs standardizing. We're doing it for our project. We're just wondering, is it worth making an open source project of this? And talk to me today if you're interested. rob.collins@pythonpro.co.uk.
Rob Collins.
Thank you.
Graphical data navigation. Thank you so much. Larry, did you recompile your kernel? Very good.
Sorry, I'm the gorilla in the room. I realize that I shouldn't have shaved, but I'm still the gorilla in the room, and I only have a simple meme hoping to... The GIL must go. Help me. The GIL must go. The GIL must go. The GIL must go. Now, Larry will explain you in much more rational tones why, but meanwhile, the GIL must go. The GIL must go.
While Larry is still searching for ways to connect the GIL to the projector, is Lucian already arrived? Did Lucian Nuitia arrive again? So maybe he's the guy who switched into the partner program and is announced for Q2 6. Andre, can you start with information about Python 0.9.1? So just to be sure, that was a long time ago. We are not stuck in a timing loop.
Nevertheless, the GIL must go.
The GIL must go.
The GIL must go.
Oi, oi, oi. The projector must work. Do you know what the B in Benoit B Mandelbrot stands for? Benoit B Mandelbrot, great. Andre Dahlke will talk about Python 0.9.1 and why you should use it instead of Python 3.4. Andrew.
Well, first off, it doesn't have a GIL because it's single-threaded.
Oh.
The GIL must go.
Oh. Alex, usually I agree with you, but every time you make the GIL go away, the projection goes away.
So this is actually some years ago.
Larry got a rational issue about that.
Okay.
The GIL must go.
So this is actually something I did a couple of years ago. Someone asked the question, what was the first version of Python to include the else clause in for loops? And, well, you can actually go and figure this out yourself. You can go to the... Excuse my computer does something. There it goes. You can go to the downloads page and download all the different things. And even older releases, go to source releases. And you can go to there and go all the way down to the list and find out that you can get Python 1.0.1.tar.gz online. But I think I can do better. In fact, I know I can do better. Let me do this. Now I think I'm being heard. Okay. So if you look at MISC history, you can go at the bottom and see that release 0.9.0 was in February 1991. Release 2 alt.sources. Now that was back in the good old days when everyone used Usenet all the time, and all of the Python developers were on Usenet reading, compiling Python. Actually, even before then. So Usenet is, after all, a really long time ago, almost before the World Wide Web, because that started off in 1990. It's only a few months after that. And it's still possible to find those postings. Those are archived. And here you can see Guido van Rossum on February 20th, 1991, releasing a shell archive. For those of you who don't remember the good old days when everyone was friendly and honest and did good things to other people all the time, this is what you did. You downloaded, and this is one of 21, but one of these was rejected because it was a mistake. So there's like actually 20 files. You download these into one large file, put them together, and execute this as a shell script. So these are actually running shell commands to do things like check to see if things exist, clear documents list said to do all the stuff to handle new lines correctly. Once you do that and run it, you get README and all sorts of things like Python is apparently an extensible interpreted programming language that combines numerical power with very clear syntax. I think that hasn't changed since 20 some odd years. Now I look in there and there's a source grammar, and that says here, in the very first release to the outside world, first statement includes else. Now, of course, this isn't quite code. This could be lying. So the next question is, can I compile it and test it out? And, well, yes, I can. There's a few changes. This is, after all, 1991, and my compilers now are C99. But a few things to make things work, and it compiles. Well, it compiles with a lot of warnings, but they're just warnings, right? We can ignore those. Thing is it works. I type Python after I've done this, and import sys. Sys modules is extremely small compared to now, but there's a sys modules. Sys standard in read line. It doesn't know about \n yet. It just gives me its octal code, but it's working. And I try to write something. And things about this is, well, this is Python 0.9, and you have to have the parentheses in there. You can't have double quotes. Only single quotes are allowed. But you can still, you make a class and say it. So then tested this out, do a for loop, for x in range 5, else I am done. So 1991, the very first release, for else worked. And as you can see, I quit this and it's seg false. But it's on exit, so it doesn't matter. Now, it's interesting to go through what is now the standard library, but then Guido was, here's something that I can do in Python. Like, there's a module for doing polynomials that I think a few years later got thrown away. But some of the interesting things about here is there's an equal as assignment up there and an equal for, thank you, and an equal for comparison there. This is back in the old days of Python before, so it's not quite the modern Python. And this is back when we didn't have the same syntax, string exceptions. And other things that are about this time is there was no underscore in it. You actually had to make your own thing. And you see there's DD here instead of a self. This is back before we had a consistent self. In fact, I went through and pulled out, there's several things called init, create. There is actually a self, I pull out the odd ones. But there is actually some strangeness in here because it's not really the Python as we know it. It's 0.9.1. Come on, give me a break. But the other day, Larry Hastings pointed out that Mercurial has the entire archive. I mean, really, it's a Mercurial now, and then it was in what? Subversion before that, and before that it was an RCS. And there's been a full migration of the entire RCS process from the first release back in 1990, not release, but first commit back in 1990. So while the transactions go back to 0.9.8, you can go through and figure out that in Sunday, the 14th of October in 1990, at noon, there was a commit with the else statement. And the previous commit was on Saturday, October 13th. So sometime between Saturday and Sunday, the for else was added to the language.
What I imagine were the discussions when we got from 0.9.0 to 1. Something. How could you make the assignment operator and the comparison operator change it? We have to rewrite all our code. Python 1.0 will never be common. So, are you Max? Or are you? Yeah, Anatoly? Ah, great. And Max Stepken, are you here? Great. So, fine, it's fine. Some little changes?
We are nevertheless
Yeah.
here.
Well, I just skipped Max because I needed Andrew because he was in front. No problem.
GIL must go!
So, are you moving forward?
It works when I talk to the monitor.
Go!
Woo! There were some scientists, and
GIL, by the way.
yeah, the GIL. They talked about a four-dimensional space, and some said, "Oh, I can't really imagine." So the physicists said, "Easy, just take room and space, and you have 4 dimensions." And then the mathematician said, "Even easier, just imagine an n-dimensional space and set n equal to 4." And now the GIL can go, Larry?
Yes.
MC Larry Hastings, the GIL must go. The future of the Python Go.
Okay, and it's double length. It's 10 minutes, but I still have to go fast because I have a lot of slides. So, the basics. The GIL, that's an acronym. It means Global Interpreter Lock. This is a single lock. This is you will make me run out of time. There's a single lock that must be wrapped around the entire CPython runtime. In other words, you must hold this lock whenever you talk to CPython. If you are allocating an object, deallocating an object, interacting with an object, or running Python bytecode, you must hold this lock. This was originally created in 1992 in some format or another. The modern GIL was created in 1997. Now, there are plenty of upsides. Let's make no mistake. The GIL was great, and certainly in the early days of Python. It made development of the Python interpreter very simple. This made evolution of the language more rapid. It made it easier to bring on new developers because it was very easy to work on. There's no possibility of a deadlock if you only have one lock. And there's never any question about which lock you're supposed to hold in order to do something. Now, since the implementation was simple, it made writing extension types very easy. This meant that we got lots and lots of extensions. We got extensions to use native libraries, which made Python very popular. And if you had a library that was slow because the Python was too slow, you could rewrite it in C and make it go a lot faster. So this all made people very happy. This is all good. There are downsides to having the GIL. The major one, and everybody knows it, is that Python can only run code on one core at a time, period, end of sentence. You cannot use more than one core to run Python code or to interact with the Python runtime. And a side effect of this, and the side effect of having the GIL is that there are some conditions where you have interactions between threads inside of Python that may have some terrible performance side effects. This used to be much worse. David Beasley proved this in a talk a couple of years ago. It got a lot better, but there are still ways that you can make the GIL cry. So this is bad. Is it really bad? Bad? Are you sure? Is it bad? Yes. Well, so there are some smart people who say that it isn't so bad. They say, no, you can use multiprocessing, and you can have your different processes communicate versus with sockets or shared memory or something and serialize and deserialize through them. Or if you have a process that is I/O bound and you're not going to use the full core anyway, then you are perfectly happy using Python threads. And those are true, but I claim that it is still a bad idea in this modern day and age, and this is why. A program, in order to use the entirety, a program should use all available resources that are made available to it to solve the problem that it's trying to solve. And Python is leaving money on the table because it lives in a multi-core world and it was designed for a single core world. I want to point out to you just how multi-core we are now. 2006 is when we first started getting multi-core desktop, server, and even game consoles. All became multi-core in 2005. 2006 was when laptops became multi-core. 2011, tablets, phones, and even low-cost embedded systems on a chip all became multi-core. 2013, eyeglasses became multi-core. 2013, eyeglasses became multi-core! So, what would multi-core Python be like? Well, probably most people would actually do multi-threading with shared state. Now, Alex hates this. A lot of people say this is a bad thing to do, but I say practicality beats purity. There are a lot of people who want to program like this, and if Python says you can't program like this, are they going to say, oh, I should switch paradigms? No, they will say, oh, I will switch languages. You can, of course, do concurrent sequential processes. This is a wonderful thing. If we have message passing in particular built into the language, this would be lovely, like Stackless gives you, but it doesn't do multi-core. There could be future paradigms that are going to take advantage of modern computers. I don't know what those will be like, but they will be multi-core. So what follows is my opinion. I'm not speaking for anybody else, although Alex has been urging me on to make this statement. For CPython to be relevant in 10 years, we must remove the GIL.
The GIL must go!
Now, I didn't say CPython will die. I said it will lose relevance. I didn't say Python. There's lots more than just CPython. But I said CPython will lose relevance. This doesn't mean it will happen. It doesn't mean that I'm right, although I think I'm right. I don't know what the future will hold. The future is notoriously hard to predict. I will point out that we have a great deal of proof that the GIL is not necessary to have a fully functioning Python. There are 4 major implementations of Python these days. 2 of them have no GIL. 3 of them have no reference counting. It is only CPython that has reference counting and the GIL. What are the ramifications of removing the GIL from the CPython? Well, it will break every extension that exists because the assumptions built into the C API about having a GIL and having all of the static data are so pervasive that it will break everything. Now, we can mitigate that. We could fix Swig so that it generated the new bindings, and that would make people who are using Swig come up to speed automatically. We could maybe write a compatibility layer. If we break the entire API, we just rename all the functions, and then we use all the old function names for a compatibility layer. That might only work single-threaded. It might not work at all. I don't know what the future would look like. Another thing is that the internal implementation would become a lot more complicated. Again, this would slow down development of Python, of CPython, but maybe at this point in Python's life cycle, that would be okay. And if we were removing the GIL, we might very well remove reference counting too, because this is another millstone around the implementation of Python. This would be very complicated, and certainly we could not remove reference counting unless we removed the GIL. Pure multi-threaded friendly garbage collection is the future of interpreted languages, and it is incredibly hard. To do a really good job of it is basically research quality material. People publish papers about this stuff. Now, we have a lot of smart people in the Python community, but it's a lot of work, and I'm not writing checks on anybody else's time. Finally, if we did do this, this would probably get called CPython 4.0 because it is going to break everything. Now, Guido has spoken on this in the past many times. His most recent statement that I could find was called a blog post called "It Isn't Easy to Remove the GIL." And in that blog post, he said he would be willing to accept a GIL-free Python if it did not hurt single-core performance or if it was done as a fork of CPython. I think that if I am right, then Guido will have to relax these requirements somewhat. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong and everybody should be happy. I think one way to mitigate this problem is to make maybe a slightly different build. You can do at configure time, where you would make a single core version of Python that would lose all of the complexity that we have in managing the modern lock-free GIL, whatever we're doing, and that might get us back the performance that we lose with doing the GIL removal. I don't know. But the people who care about single core performance, they'd be willing to compile Python with those constraints. So there are some alternatives. I've been talking to core developers all week. Sorry, Heineck, it wasn't on purpose. I just forgot. But talk to people. Andre Lemberg proposed a library that would allow you to share objects through a big shared memory space. And then you could write your program multiprocess. This is good because it doesn't require changing CPython at all. It's bad because it's fragile. It'd be inconvenient to use. You wouldn't be able to share local process resources like a socket, say, through this mechanism directly. And I think if this library was available, people would still say, I'm going to use another language. Armin Ronacher proposed he would be happy if I gave him multiple interpreters, each having their own GIL, all running in a single process. This is like what Lua gives you, I believe. And this is good in that it allows you to share non-Python objects between the Python threads. That's great. It's very simple to do, actually. This would be pretty cheap. It gives you thread local state. So this gives you multi-threading with thread local state, which is another paradigm that's really pretty good. The downside is this, again, also breaks the entire CABI. And maybe it's like, I think it might be not shooting high enough, not trying hard enough. It also doesn't allow you to share Python objects between interpreters at all, or at least not directly. You'd have to serialize and deserialize again. So finally, I would say Python is a community project. Python is the product of all the people who work on it, the core developer community. If for anything like this to happen, people would have to be convinced that it was a good idea, and they would have to be willing to step up and commit their time in order to make it happen. And I can't predict whether that will happen at all. So I wanted to take a quick poll. Who here agrees with the statement, if CPython does not remove the GIL in 10 years, it will lose relevance? Hands up.
GIL must go!
Okay. And hands down, who disagrees? Well, the ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Woo! Larry Hastings about...
Join me now that you've heard
Yep.
the
Desktop.
semi-reasonable person in my corner.
Ah.
The GIL must go!
Woo. May I please ask Max Tepken to use the place where Larry was? And while we're on it, your favorite Python interpreter, CPython. IronPython. For a Microsoft product, that's not a lot of people. Jython. Jython. 1. PyPy. Nuitka. As many as Jython. Any other Python interpreter? Stackless? Woo! One of Stackless. Thank you so very much. Higher order function.
Read from here. No. From here.
From where?
Yeah, this is the name.
Higher order functions? Because
no.
the title was
that's
PyG
wrong.
run. That's wrong.
No, yeah, this is
Okay, okay, I take this one.
Yeah.
Anatoly will talk about higher order functions, and I was so happy he would do something for our fitness with something running. But it's also fine. Anatoly, give him a big hand.
Buongiorno, everyone. And I'm developer of Plogic International. My name is Anatoly Bubnikov. And I want to talk about higher order functions in Python and their optimization. Okay, that was a joke. So I want to invite you to the PyCron, the conference in the Netherlands, in particular in the Netherlands part of it. And it will be in next year, 9th of May. And I'm going to talk about why you should go there. It's born like a conference, Python and Friends. At the moment in the Netherlands, there are no local Python conference like in Italy or in France or other countries. So it aims to be like that. It's a one-day conference at the moment. Next year we plan sprints also. There will be 3 tracks, about 20 talks or more. It depends actually on the community, so everyone is invited. There will be more than 200 participants, and like I said, it will be in Groningen, Netherlands. So why join? Great talks, great venue, and the conference is, of course, about Python, but not only. So everything related to tech and latest technologies also will be there. Very positive atmosphere, great surroundings, and the price. It's only 25 euros. That's great. And of course, legendary after party. And a lot of fun. We have great speakers like Holger Krekel, Mike Bayer, Armin Ronacher, Peter Nordhaus, Kenneth Reitz, Alexander Solovyov, and more. And you are invited again. So see you on PyCron 2014. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anatoly. And I thought it was something healthy when I was last run, but it's a party in the Netherlands with free drinks. You should train something else than your running speed. What is your operating system of choice on the desktop? Please raise your hand for Linux. Please raise your hand for some of the Mac operating systems on a desktop. Please raise your hand for Windows. Hey, they are a member of the Python Software Foundation. Give them some credit. BSD. Woo. More BSD users than Python users. Take note. Any commercial Unix? PUX. OS2. That's other. Other? No Amiga users with us. So.
Every OS sucks.
What sucks?
Every OS.
Every OS sucks. We need Andre, who wants to talk about FunkParser to get set up. Our next speaker will be Max Tepkev about table partitioning with Django. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Give him a big hand. So, hi, my name is Max, and I'm going to give a lightning talk about table partitioning with Django. So, I hope we all know what table partitioning is, but for those who don't, or for those who forgot, Actually, it's a very large topic, but basically a table partitioning is a division of one table into several smaller tables which represent the table. So let's have an example. Here we have a very happy table. It has some data in it, so it looks quite nice. But after some time, it gets overbloated with data, and the queries are very slow. And so it looks like this. And now it is an unhappy table, as you see. So what can we do to help the table? Actually, there are several solutions to this problem, but one of the solutions is table partitioning. So we can give some friends partitions to the table. Yeah? And now the data is situated in these three partitions, and our table is happy again. And the queries are much faster. So if we look at this at the SQL level, what basically happens, imagine that we have a table called logs, where we store all our log data. And if we do an insert with this data, it goes to the partition for month number 5. If we do another insert, it goes to the partition for month number 6. But as you see, we are working with the table logs. And if we do select all from logs, we have all those 2 rows of data. So we might even don't know that there are some partitions and some other stuff. Actually, there are some problems with partitioning implementation with different databases. For example, Postgres using inheritance, and MySQL uses alter table. And by the way, you have to have some, well, good knowledge of SQL to do the partitioning correctly. Otherwise, it can kill you and you can get fired if you don't have backups and stuff. And also, when you go to vacation, imagine that you did all the great partitioning stuff and you went to vacation, and then some colleague of yours come and see all this. It can have a face like this. Well, what the hell is this, man? I'm a Python programmer, not an SQL guru. So this is why I created a package called Django DB Party. It's very easy. Basically, you install it from PyPI or clone from GitHub. Then you add it to installed apps. Then you create your model in Django as usual. You make an import partitionable, and you make your model to inherit from partitionable. So then you can add some configuration. You add a meta class to your model, make it also inherit from partitionable meta. Then you specify the range at which partitions are created. Currently, there is a month and a week. And you specify a column on which partitions are done. For example, by default, it's part date. But it can be whatever column you like. And then you run this command, which creates all the stuff at the database level. So it works as fast as if you were doing this all by hand. Also, you can have some customization, which partitions or partition is shown in the admin. That was the good stuff, and there is some bad stuff. First of all, I don't have tests right now, but I promise I will someday. Yeah. Currently, I support MySQL and Postgres, and I planning to add Oracle soon, and maybe more. I need to add more partitioning options and some more stuff. So I'm running out of time, and thank you. Use it. I will be happy if you like it.
Table partitioning with Django. I would like to sing something. We shall write some tests someday. I need somebody to do the guitar. And while Andre is setting up to talk about funcparserlib, I would like to Danilo Bargen to come to the stage. Ah, Max, you partitioned our microphone.
Yeah, for good.
If you host your Python app, what do you prefer? Own hardware? If you host your created software, what do you prefer for your hosting? Hosting. Google Glasses is missing from the list. So, what sort of hosting do you like? Own hardware. Google Glasses belongs to own hardware. Virtual private server, VPS. The cloud. Platform as a service. Other? I don't know. Okay, our next speaker, Andre, about funcparserlib, a functional parsing library. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Andre, give him a big hand.
Well, thank you. I'm Andrei Vlasovsky from PyCharm, and today I'm going to talk about funcparserlib. It's a functional parsing library for Python. Basically, it's a library for parsing little languages, also known as external DSLs. Its competitors are PyParsing, Ply, and some other parsing libraries. Why I started it? I wasn't happy with the API of PyParsing. It's too large, too complicated, and you could do better. So funcparserlib has an API of about 10 functions, and it's quite stable now, so you can use it in production. The main idea behind this library is parsing combinators. It is an idea from the functional programming community, from languages such as OCaml or Haskell. Basically, you have primitive parsers, for example, a parser that could parse only one token, a way to declare a forward declaration parser, and then you have a means of composition. You can define sequences, alternatives, you can repeat your parser many times, define maybe parsers, and the best part of it is that every time you use some means of combination, you get another parser, so you can quite easily start with the smallest things and just get your whole grammar working. Let's take a look at an example. Here's the S expression language. It can contain symbols, like variable names, and nested lists in parentheses. Actually, it's a subset of Lisp. And here's the parser for this language written using funcparserlib. It's just tokenized missing, and other stuff is there. So let's take a look how it works. Basically, you have a parser for symbol that can parse only one symbol. Then you forward declare list. Then you state that expression is either symbol or list, and that the list is an open paren, many expression, and close paren. And that's it. So funcparserlib is very tiny. Actually, it's very small, and the half of its code are comments. So it's very well documented and tested. Also, it is one of the fastest parsing library written in pure Python. Here's some performance benchmark about parsing JSON, but note that the library written in C would be about 100 times faster than any of pure Python libraries. So you should use that kind of libraries for little languages such as config files, stuff like that. Unfortunately, it's not so popular than its rivals, such as PyParsing, and that's why I'm here. I would like to see more users of funcparserlib, so please Google it or go to my homepage. I will be glad to answer all your questions. I'm still here, so find me, and that's it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Andre, about funcparserlib. Now we have one repetition about APAC, but Toru was already present. So I need Adam Chi. Adam Chi. You're here? Can you please set up? Our next speaker will be Danilo Barragan about Chedi, awesome Python autocompletion. Have you heard about the suicidal homeopath? He took thousands of the recommended dosage. Do you know the difference between ignorance and indifference? Correct. So, Danilo, Chedi. Chedi
Okay.
you will be.
Can you hear me? Yes.
A big hand for Danilo. Woo!
Okay, I'm Danilo. I'm talking about Jedi. I'm a very, very happy Vim user, but I'm happy about the Emacs talk because you've already seen Jedi. So what's Jedi? It's a library developed by a friend of mine. I just did a few contributions. Last year, Guido van Rossum was in Zurich at the ETH, and we were sitting with him and talking, and my friend explained his idea, and Guido said, oh, that worries me. But it turned out to be very good. So Jedi is an auto-completion library for Python that understands Python. You can put it inside your IDE or editor, or a debugger or anything else. There are plugins already for Vim, Emacs, Sublime Text. It runs in Python 2.6 plus and 3.2 plus, and it understands both Python 2 and 3 with a single code base. It's LGPL. It has good docs, 94% test coverage. It's really quite good. And it's really fast. This is a short example of what it looks like. There are more examples later on. So the base features it has, it can deal with very complex recursive structures. It handles syntax errors and wrong indentation, so while you are typing, it's not failing. It supports virtualenv. There is type hinting with Sphinx and epidoc doc strings, and it's very easy to use it in your own editor. Write a plugin for it. Supported Python features quite a lot. It supports the built-ins, multiple returns or yields, indexing of lists and dictionaries, exceptions, different imports, even star imports, context managers, decorators, lambdas, closures, some descriptors, some magic methods, list manipulation, simple syspath modifications, and more. What's not supported is meta classes. That's really hard to do. Set attribute, set attr, the underscore import, writing to globals, locals, object dict, and evaluating if or while. So a short example, there's a set of 4 items with integers. You add a string to it, convert it to a list, do an indexing of it, and complete it, and it works. And for example, I really like PyCharm, but that's something it can't do. Something else, this is really ugly code, but I promise it works. You import JSON. You create a class that makes JSON a global variable. You assign JSON to ham. There's a function that returns the class instance. No, not the instance, the class itself. Then you return the class, create an instance from it, get the ham attribute out of it, and print it. And complete it, and it works. And I'm going to show this to you. This is the same code, dot, and it completes, and it contains everything you need. Okay, and if Jedi fails, for example, if you have a C library that contains some complicated imports or something, for example, SQLite, then you can create kind of a mock Python object that contains all the functions without doing anything. And Jedi parses that and tries to create bindings. In the wild, you can use it for Vim with Jedi Vim. There's another plugin that supports C completion too. It's called uCompleteMe. And it supports completion while you type, and it's fast enough, so it works. Emacs, you've seen it before. Sublime Text 2 and 3. There's a web debugger similar to the Werkzeug one that supports completion using Jedi. It's being integrated into Kate and Spider IDE, which is used for scientific stuff. Yeah, that's basically it. So we would appreciate it if you would use it, if you report bugs, if you integrate it into your IDE, or if you just take a look at it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Danilo. Jedi by Danilo Bargen. Now last call for Lucian Nuizia. Lucian is obviously not here. I need Radomir. Radomir, who wants to talk about Hata, to go to the right one. And while Adam is setting up his computer with the help of 3 friendly gentlemen, one more question. What operating system do you prefer to use on your servers? First, Linux, Mac OS. Is it true that Windows is not even on the list? BSD? Wow. Commercial Unix? Other? Okay. I guess it were all the queries. Yeah, from my list. So, how is it going? Okay, it takes time. You're working on it. Last year, on the last day of EuroPython, I went into the city, and while walking, I met a group of other EuroPythoniers also walking into the city, so we formed a group to attack the city together. And while walking, we came across a shop that had newly opened, and it looked beautiful, especially they had free food samples prepared. But it was totally empty. So we helped those people and went in and took the free food samples and made it very crowded. So they were rather happy. And as we started the things going in that shop by eating the free food and also buying some stuff, they were quite friendly and discussing with us. And so we joked. And I asked, oh, do you have a daughter who will inherit this shop? Which is not yet married, because I also look for inheritance as a way of getting richy. I'm object-oriented. And they said, yeah, our daughter will inherit this shop, and she's not yet married. I said, yeah, here. Then the information came, you have to wait some time, she's only 5. Okay, I'm fine with waiting. The bad thing, this story got communicated and communicated and communicated. And what landed with some fellow Pythoneers is that I tried to buy a 5-year-old girl. It's totally wrong. I just wanted to inherit that shop. Our next speaker, Adam Grosser, about pyramid soap request. Are you ready, Adam?
Yep.
Big hand.
So you may know the ZOP Foundation repository, which hosts ZOP Foundation. ZOP, test. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Speak, I will fix it.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Speak.
Am I good? Okay, so there is the ZTK, ZOP Toolkit, which is hosted on the ZOP Foundation repositories. Okay, thank you. So, probably you might not know it. The ones who know that there are some hidden gems in it. So the problem was that everyone switched to Pyramid, but the packages did not work with Pyramid. 1, 2? Yeah, fine. So I made a package which allows you to use those hidden gems with Pyramid. I have implemented just the bare minimum attributes or methods which are needed. Pyramid publisher request is based on the ZOB base request, which will help you with few handy methods. We have the form attribute, which will get filled with the request parameters, including the colon list conversion, the environment attribute will get filled. We have keys and get methods. I omitted the cookies. We have the get URL and annotations. All other methods and attributes are mirrored from the pyramid request. The pyramid publisher response will have get set at header methods, which will use the car set tweak, because Zope is setting the headers which destroy the car set of the pyramid request. We also have get status, set status methods. All others are mirrored again from the pyramid response. Proof of concept, Z3C form, which is a form library, works with pyramid. For that, I have to prepare or declare my layer, which is based on the Z3C form layer and the browser request. Decorate with the decorator, which is included in the package. Pass the layer, and the rest is like any usual pyramid view declaration. One important thing is that you better render the request with Chameleon templates instead of the Zope page templates. For that, you should override the dunder call method to just update and return an empty dict. Here is the fixed Chameleon template, where usually the slashes are of the Zope page template are replaced with dots. That's the only difference. And that was it.
Woo! Adam Grover, Python Zope request. I need Balas 3 to get to the other stage. Do you know that Fibonacci is as easy as 1, 1, 2, 3? And while we're on bar jokes, I'm really proud. I got now joke writers. I'm going in the big league. A neutron walks into a bar, drinks a beer, asks for the price, and the barkeeper says, "For you, no charge." I liked it more. What's the simplest tool to shave you? Simplest tool for shaving?
Occam's razor.
Occam's razor, Larry Hastings. Give him a big hand. So, Radomir, are you ready?
Yes.
For Hadawiki. Okay, I'm resetting the lightning timer. Big hand for Radomir. Hadawiki.
Okay, so this is my hobby project. I've been doing it for several years already. It's a Hadawiki. It's a wiki engine. Everybody used to write wiki engines back then, so I joined the crowd. But what is a wiki engine? Wiki engine is a piece of software that lets you run a wiki website. This particular one can run either on a server through a WSGI or WSGI, or locally on a local host. So using this simple command from the command line. And this particular wiki engine is a little bit different from others because it uses Mercurial Repository instead of a database to store all your pages. So the pages are just text files in your repository or images or whatever you put there. And all the changes that you do, all the edits are really commits to the repository. And you can use Vim or Emacs or whatever to edit the pages and do the commits and push it to the wiki, and it will still appear as wiki changes. It's very simple. There are no external features. There is only the minimum that you need to use it as a wiki. And there are some example use cases you can use it. You can use it for additional documentation, so to let your users add some, I don't know, usage patterns, tutorials written by them, and things like that for your project. You can use it for collaboration on, I don't know, write a new PEP, and you need to somehow exchange notes on that. You can finally use it with Bitbucket Wiki, because with a Bitbucket repository, you get a free wiki, which also stores everything in a repository, and you can check out that repository, but then you have no way of editing it other than through Vim. You can use this wiki, you just run it with an additional option to make it understand .wiki pages as wiki pages. And you can edit things locally on the train, in the plane, and then when you go back home, push it to Bitbucket. And finally, this presentation is made in this wiki. So if you look at it, this is just a page with links to particular slides. And there is the slide page. So you just click Run the presentation. It shows you. This is an extension that I made. And I make all my presentations in that. About extending. There is no plugin system yet, but there are some hooks in the code, so you extend it by wrapping it in some code that adds to those hooks. This is ugly as of now, but I'm planning to add some plugins. Well, the plans for the future is having some gallery of nice themes for it, because people always like nice themes. Adding some plugin infrastructure for this so that it can be extended by people. And in particular, I want to write some more plugins for the different markups. Because right now, it's basically wiki crawl, and I want to, and it also supports restructured text too. And I want to add some more like markdown and textile and things like that. It should be pretty easy. And just try it. Thank you.
About Hatawiki. I need Georges Dubus. About Persona. Andrea, I guess it's the same, one true editor and a true friend. It's the same. And the world. Great. Now, while colleague is setting up, a final call. For Lucia Nuitia, please come to the stage now or your package will be unloaded. I heard that once last year in, where had we, PostgreSQL in Prague. They told me I have to run to the gate or my package will be unloaded. Now, are you ready?
Yes.
For RuPy 2013 in Budapest.
Hello, everyone. I would like to invite you to a conference that will be in Budapest, Hungary, between the 11th and 13th of October this year. We have already a few great speakers that will speak on the conference. And here are the places that are waiting for you. So my name is Balázs Ré, and I am a developer, and I am located, oh my God, what happened? Okay. I am located in Budapest, so this is why I'm involved with the organization. So the conference is not only about Python. It's an interesting combination of Python, Ruby, JavaScript, and Clojure. So this is very exciting because we are all working on the same problem, so this gives a possibility for you also to learn what other developers are doing in the same field. We are planning for 600 participants. The conference will be 3 days, Friday and Saturday, Sunday. The participation cost will be low because it's an Eastern European conference, so a lot of the participants are coming from the region, so we have to keep the prices low. And it's a non-profit, open, transparent, community-organized conference. It has a history. 2 years ago it was in Poland, last year it was in the Czech Republic. Please feel free to visit our website at rupy.eu. And so you can get involved. The call for talks is open. Sponsorship is open. You are welcome to sponsor the conference. Tickets will open soon. And Budapest is a great place to visit. Also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. So Finally, I was thinking what should I say about Budapest, but I cannot talk about Budapest in this short time. So I just I just point out that we have great places for partying. So that's good for socializing. And also the price for food and alcohol is very affordable in our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Balázs. And for all the Germans, Budapest has more to show than that one bath. That's just something Germans would understand. There was a big insurance agency. Our next speaker is still fighting. The next? Oh, we are over. He's the last. He's the final speaker in the final Lightning Talk session, in the final EuroPython in Florence. Oh. Yeah, how could you push this now when I didn't prepare a joke to get their mood organs up? Ooh. Persona will save the world, even if it's the last EuroPython Florence. Thank you, Mozilla, for saving the world. Now you ready? Okay, cheers about Persona will save the world.
Okay, so a quick talk about Persona. So I'm sorry, people who don't care about web development are going to get bored quickly. So authentication is hard. Yesterday there was authentication is hard. Yesterday there was 2 sessions in parallel that were both talking about authentication. Passwords and OAuth. Both were 45 minutes. I'm going to try to solve the problem in 5 minutes. Hopefully, Mozilla are nice guys and they already solved the problem for us. So, Persona is good for you. It's good for you if you're privacy paranoid. Because if you use OpenID or OAuth, I'm going to some website. I try to log in and with my some of my account, and I get this. It asks me whether I want to log in or not. And the evil man in the cloud knows which site I have visited. With Persona, there will be some cryptographic details. I go to some website and this pop-up appears. But this pop-up is only in JavaScript and only in my browser. It's not some website. I just enter my email address, and Persona contacts the provider of my email address. In this case, it's Gmail, and checks my identity. And what happens from there is that the email provider gives my browser some certificate, something to ensure that it's me. And I use this certificate to sign an assertion that I give to the website. Hey, I am this person, and I'm trying to sign in. The website checks the assertion, and your identity provider never knows that you visited that website. It only gave you a certificate. So that's good, because the evil man in the cloud knows nothing in this case. It's good for security paranoids, because the website never handles any password, so there is no password to steal. It's good for the user experience, because any user can log with their email without any password if their identity provider supports it, or at least not a unique password for your website. And it's good for pessimistic people who say it won't work because nobody will implement it. And they thought about that too. Because if your email provider is not a Persona provider, they provide a fallback provider, so you can still use Persona. Anybody can use Persona with any email address. If your browser, because Persona is supposed to be in the browser, but if your browser does not support Persona, they provide a fallback implementation in JavaScript. And if the website, which is supposed to check the assertion, doesn't have in the language of the application anything to check the assertion, there is an online service, an API to check the assertion. So everything is in place for Persona to work right now. It's
Moreover, it's good for lazy people like me, because implementing persona and implementing authentication in any application is just about adding 3 lines of JavaScript and adding 2 views. One view, login view that checks the assertions the user gives, and one logout view, and that's it. And it's even better for lazy Python people because there are libraries in most web frameworks, Django, Flask, and the best one, Pyramid. Just check persona.org for more information. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Georgios. Persona will save the world, hopefully. That concludes our lightning talk session. Please give all the speakers and yourself a big hand. So we have still 6 minutes before the next potential point, but I'm in charge of that too, so I can use it. But first, please, can all those guys in the yellow shirts come in? I need all the organizers to come in before I announce the sprints, so we can give the organizers a big thank you applause for creating this wonderful EuroPython. Woo! Can somebody shout them? There were more of them. Woo! Where are the others?
Just a few.
What? The others are working. So they will get the others who are working, and while that we will be working. Introduction to the sprints. Tomorrow there'll be a lot of people sprinting. I've got a list of sprints, and I will ask the sprint chairmen to just come into the front, say hello, so that the sprinters will see who is the chairman, whom they follow tomorrow to find a room. The first is the CPython sprint, and it's your Melotti. It's your Melotti. Are you here? Okay. Next sprint, Django, OAuth